What's up, Buttercup?
Grady Dalton, his lithe frame on display in his normal jeans and t-shirt, leaned against my desk and looked me up and down. "I have a name," I reminded him. He bothered me on a level that shouldn't have been possible, especially because I'm easygoing. No, really. That's not something I say about myself. Other people say it.
Yes, but there's nothing that rhymes with Shay or Archer that I find cute. What's up, Shay Archer doesn't have the same ring to it.
He was trying to be charming. Every woman in the office had fallen prey to that dimpled smile of his. Well, every woman but me. I was above such things. "I'm not even blonde," I pointed out, instinctively tucking my shoulder-length brown hair behind an ear. "Buttercup doesn't work for me." "That's what you say to blondes."
I see.
His dimple grew deeper.
Do you prefer I call you Pooh Boo because of your brown hair?
From the desk next to mine, Grant Landry laughed. He always laughed at Grady's jokes, even if they weren't funny. "You could call me by my name. Is there something you find abhorrent about it?"
Actually, I think Shay is a pretty name.
"Great."
I was just trying to make conversation.
He folded his arms across his chest and regarded me with his unreadable bright blue eyes, which served as a shock against his black hair. Mine were a mundane green, more hazel than anything. He looked intense when staring. I looked bored. That was probably why he was so good at garnering interviews. We both worked for the Bourbon Street Bugle, a newspaper that operated in New Orleans' illustrious French Quarter. I handled entertainment pieces. There were a lot of options in the city, and he considered himself a news hound. Most of the time that meant we didn't butt heads on stories. That didn't mean there wasn't some foot-stomping and head-ramming in the newsroom. Grady sucked up all the oxygen in the building, and I needed space to breathe. The combination made for a toxic atmosphere. "Next time, just state your business and avoid the cutesy nicknames," I suggested. "I'm guessing that if I were a man, you wouldn't bother with such trivialities." I knew I sounded prim, to the point he would ultimately question what had crawled up my ass and died, but I couldn't contain my dislike. He rubbed me the wrong way. He always rubbed me the wrong way.
See, that's not true.
Grady vehemently shook his head.
I have nicknames for everybody. Take Grant, for example.
He gestured to our co-worker, another tool, but kept his eyes on me.
I call him the news hound who was born to be a booze hound. You don't hear him complaining, do you?
I narrowed my eyes. "Do you have a reason for being here?" I'd filed my column for the day. I always beat my deadline by at least 30 minutes, and was trying to figure out a way to entertain myself until the employee meeting that had been called early this morning. After that, I was free to leave, and I was already dreaming about crawfish etouffee for dinner. I didn't have time for Grady and his version of charm.
Yeah?
Grady glanced over his shoulder, his smile slipping. He was serious when he turned back.
I want to know what you've heard about this meeting.
The newsroom had been buzzing with rumors ever since our editor, Edith Felders, announced attendance was mandatory in the conference room at 4 o'clock. We had many meetings. There was little Edith loved more than being the center of attention, but it was rare for attendance to be mandatory. "What have you heard?" I demanded. He was up on the office gossip much more than I was.
Well, Sheila Graham in advertising said they're cutting the physical publication to 2 days a week. She said she heard it from the executive secretary.
I frowned. It was no secret that newspapers were in trouble. When I'd decided to get a degree in journalism, my parents warned me it was a bad idea. My father insisted hotel management was a better option. There were always new hotels being built, and my mother suggested that I find a nice man with huge money-making potential to settle down with. I'd politely declined both their ideas